748, message and order authorizing an appropriation in the amount of $12,101,645 for the purpose of paying the cost associated with boiler and window door projects at the following schools: the Rafael Hernandez School, Patrick Linden School, Donald McKay School, James Otis School, Josiah Quincy School, and the John D. O'Brien School of Mathematics and Science. Docket 1049, message and order approving an appropriation of $1,500,000 for the purpose of paying for the cost of a feasibility study and schematic design associated with the renovation or new construction of a facility for the Josiah Quincy Upper School. Upon completion of the feasibility study, the City of Boston may be eligible for a grant from Mass School Building Authority, said amount to be expended under the direction of the Public Facilities Department on behalf of the Boston Public Schools. And lastly, docket 1050, message and order approving an appropriation of $400,000 for the purpose of paying for the cost of a feasibility study and schematic design work associated with the renovation or new construction at the following schools: McKinley K through 12, Curley K through 8, and the Mary Lyons School, for which the City of Boston may be eligible for a grant from the Mass School Building Authority, said amount to be expended under the direction of the Public Facilities Department on behalf of the Boston Public Schools. I'd like to remind folks this is a public hearing being broadcast live as well as being recorded on Comcast Channel 8, RCN 82, Verizon 1964, and streamed at boston.gov/city-council-TV. I'd ask folks in the chamber to silence any electronic devices. We will take public testimony at certain points throughout the hearing. There is a sign-in sheet to my left by the door. We ask anyone that wishes to testify publicly to document your name, residence, any affiliation, and please circle the yes if you do wish to testify. You can also submit written testimony by mail or email at ccc.wm@boston.gov. I'm joined by my colleague from South Boston, Councilor Ed Flynn. Welcome. And at this point, let me hand it over to Brian McLaughlin from Public Facilities. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Councilor. With me today is Zach Scott from the Boston Public Schools System, and he's just going to open up the hearing briefly.
Great. Thanks.
So as Brian mentioned, my name is Zach Scott. I'm the Deputy Chief Operating Officer at Boston Public Schools. And we're excited to talk with you today about the Massachusetts School Building Authority's Accelerated Repair Program. We continue to appreciate the partnership we have with MSBA in helping support our district objectives of keeping our buildings in good standing and good repair. So I'll kick it over to Brian, who will give a little bit of an update on where we are in terms of that process in working with MSBA, and then we'll leave some time at the end for questions.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Zach. Councilor Siomo, before I start the presentation, I'd just like to make a request that we postpone the hearing on docket number 1049. If it's amenable to you, we focus the hearing on 1048 in docket number 1050.
No problem.
Thank you very much. It will be back shortly within
New
to
docket.
follow up on
1050
in the JQS.
Great. Thanks.
So the Massachusetts School Building Authority is the state authority that oversees the funding of public school construction projects throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's a reimbursement agency that funds its projects based upon 1 penny of the Massachusetts sales tax. MSBA has 2 programs: the Accelerated Repair Program, which focuses on roof, windows, and boiler projects, and the second program is the Core Program projects, which focus on new construction, major renovation. The Josiah Quincy Elementary School, Upper School, will be one of those core projects. We're currently in construction of the Boston Arts Academy. We finished up the Dearborn STEM Academy last year, and we're working with the MSBA on the Carter School, which hopes to start design shortly. We've worked extensively with the MSBA on accelerated repair program in the last 4 years, which I'll get to in a couple of slides. Like I said, the MSBA accelerated repair program focuses on roof, windows, and boilers. They focus building system upgrades in facilities that are structurally sound and are able to deliver the desired educational program that a specific school system would like to deliver at a specific school, but the building may need some minor upgrades. These upgrades will extend the useful life of the building and also create a more energy efficient facility for these school systems. There are certain program requirements for the accelerated repair program with the MSBA. The building system must be at least 20 years old, so the roof, windows, and boilers can't be relatively new. The cost of the project is over $250,000. The school is not overcrowded, and the building must be used for educational purposes. It can't be just a standalone administrative building or something that doesn't provide educational programming. So the two matters before you, the first is docket number 1048, and that is on the 2018 accelerated repair program. These projects were submitted to the MSBA in February of 2018. City Council approved study funds in August of 2018. Design started last fall. The MSBA approved the project scope and budget for these 6 projects at their June board meeting. And the estimated cost of construction is $12.1 million, and the city will likely see upwards of $7 million in reimbursement for the boiler replacement at the Hernandez, Linden, McKay, and Josiah Quincy Elementary School, and the window projects at the James Otis and the John D. O'Brien School of Mathematics and Science. Next step for these projects, working within the MSBA process, is to have a vote of the City Council to support the $12.1 million that will be put towards the construction project at these schools. We'll then move into design development on these 6 schools. We'll likely bid the projects in late 2019, early 2020, and construction will start likely in the summer of 2020 for these 6 schools. Second matter before you today is docket number 1050, and that deals with the 2019 ARP submissions, which were submitted to the MSBA in February of this past year. The matter was heard before the council on January 29th, where you supported submitting these 6 schools to the MSBA for consideration. MSBA reviewed these statements of interest the past spring and approved 3 projects to move forward into this program. They are the McKinley K-12 roof, the Curley School roof, and the Mary Lyon Upper School boiler. In conversations with the MSBA, after they took a step back, after the submission deadline for all statements of interest throughout the Commonwealth, they received more statements of interest than they anticipated, and they made the decision to not move forward with any window projects under the accelerated repair program for submissions in 2019. So that's why the window projects at the Josiah Quincy Elementary School, the Dudley Street Neighborhood Charter School, and English High School were not moved forward into the program. It wasn't just for the City of Boston windows, it was a decision for all Commonwealth school systems. Next steps for these 3 schools, we'd be requesting the City Council appropriate study funds in the sum of $400,000 so we can have a owner's project manager and an architect assigned to us by the MSBA. We'll start design in 2019. And for these 3 projects, we'd anticipate either a summer 2020 or 2021 construction start. It all depends on how quickly we can get the design completed and once we have the consultant team on board. So this slide right here is just an overview or snapshot of the success we've had and the collaboration we've had with MSBA since 2015. Since 2015, we've had 27 accelerated repair projects approved. We've had upwards of $38 million in reimbursement on close to, I think, $60 million over $60 million in project costs at these 27 schools throughout the City of Boston. In closing, the request would be for docket number 1048 to appropriate $12.1 million to support the construction costs associated with 2018 accelerated repair projects. In the second matter, docket 1050 would be to appropriate $400,000 to support the feasibility study funds for the 3 schools in the 2019 accelerated repair program. Both of these appropriations are loan orders, which would result in 2 votes of the City Council. Hopefully, the first one will be July 31st, and the second will be August 21st, based upon your calendar.
Great. Thank you, Brian. And we've been joined when you started your presentation by our Chair of Education, my friend from Dorchester, elect Councilor Anisabi George. To my left, my friend from Jamaica Plain, Councilor Matt O'Malley. You did a great job of explaining everything. I'm just wondering, is the reimbursement still around 65%? I didn't.
Unfortunately, it went down to 61% this year.
Is it 61 now?
Yeah.
And I think just for past knowledge, it used to be as much as 75 to 90, right?
So for the accelerated repair program, the reimbursement rate is set at our base reimbursement, which is 61%. For core program projects, we have the ability to earn some additional points that we usually see between 4 and 6 points added to our reimbursement rate. Right. So for a project like the Dearborn, our base reimbursement rate at the time, I think, was around 65, and we received about 6 additional reimbursement points, so it was upwards of 70%. Wow, and for the Boston Arts Academy, which is in construction right now, it's just under 70%.
Great. Good. Councilor Flynn, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Brian, and thank you, Zach, for providing excellent information here to the council. Brian, can you just run by the process of, you know, your funding in terms of the window and door replacement? 6 schools, but was there a lot of other schools that really could have been eligible, or is it just not enough funding, or what's your process?
Sure. So usually early fall, we start meeting with the Boston Public Schools facilities team to identify schools that would be eligible within the MSBA accelerated repair program. And we've been kind of chipping away over the past 4 years at a lot of the schools to try to address roof, window, and boiler system issues at a number of facilities. With the certain requirements, some of these schools aren't eligible in 2018, but become eligible in 2019. So we have to identify the age of the systems with BPS facilities team, and then work with them to identify a good amount of schools that we can put forward and think that the MSBA, upon the MSBA review, will move forward into the actual program. In the past, we've kind of capped or looked to limit our number of submissions to the MSBA somewhere between like 6 and 10.
Okay.
That's independent of other projects we're working on with BPS outside of the MSBA. So we are working on schools that have roof, window, boiler, facade issues outside of MSBA collaboration.
When you're doing work on a roof of a school, how bad does that roof have to be selected, and how long does how long has the roof been in rough shape for it to be eligible?
It all for MSBA, it has to be at least 20 years old.
Okay.
But we work with not only BPS but other departments throughout the city to identify needs that need to be addressed in quick order, so that the issue isn't exacerbated and creates other facility problems. So we try to address them when the issue is identified.
Now, if a roof is leaking at a school, certainly needs to be temporarily fixed, but how do you temporarily fix a roof that is leaking at one of the schools? What is the process of doing that?
Normally, if something's identified in a school that needs a quick fix that's usually related to maintenance. BPS has a facilities team that would address that. I know they'd identify the issue and work with some people on their staff, or maybe put it out to one of their contractors to come out and try to address that issue immediately. If that's on a smaller scale, like one-off leaks.
And my final question, Brian, is I know you highlighted the Carter School. It's an excellent school. I had the opportunity to visit several times. It's not in my district. It's in Kim Janey's district, but it plays a critical role in the city. What's the latest on the Carter School in terms of funding for the therapeutic pool?
Yeah, so we've, with the council's help, we've appropriated $1.6 million to bring on the designer and OPM. We've just started that process of we put the RFP, request for proposals for owners project managers.
Okay.
We had a walkthrough of the site last week. Over 11 firms came out to walk the site and have shown interest in the project, which is a great turnout. I mean, once you walk into that facility and see the great work that they do, everyone wants to be part of this project. So we hope to have an owner's project manager on within the next, I'd say, 3 months. Then we'd look to bring the architect on and really get into designing the building. We have been visiting similar type schools with BPS, the principal of the Carter School, and the MSBA to see what other types of facilities that support education for kids who present the same types of issues. And we visited one most recently that had a pool. So we're going to be working with the MSBA. They don't generally fund aquatic facilities.
Right.
But I think with the students, and a lot of the students at the Carter have aquatic therapy in their IEPs, that we're hoping that the MSBA will be amenable to partner in a pool.
No, thank you, Brian, and I will follow up with BPS, but I'd love to do another tour of the Carter School sometime before the end of the summer, so we'll stay in contact with you guys.
Sure. And they run full programs for the summer, so the students are there.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn, and we've been joined by my friend from South Boston at large, Councilor Michael Flaherty. Councilor Asabi George.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you both for being here. And I apologize if you covered this in the portion of the presentation I missed. But in your presentation, you note the eligibility through the MSBA, and it's noted here that if a school is not overcrowded,
So if there's overcrowding at a school, the MSBA feels like there's bigger issues within a school district or that facility, and they don't want to they don't want to support an upgrade or repair to a building that may change operationally in the near future.
Okay, and do any of our schools hit that benchmark, or?
No, based upon MSBA review going out to the building, they come out and visit the facilities. They take a walk while they're in session, and they haven't deemed that any of them have been overcrowded, that they move forward.
Do they document that capacity at all? Because I know over a number of years ago, there was a review done around capacity at our schools. Do they document where they think capacity is in their review or their analysis when the MSBA comes out?
They have square foot guidelines, but they're generally associated with new construction. So if you're doing a renovation with the MSBA collaboration, they take into account that it's an existing facility, and some of those spaces might not hit their guidelines. But I don't think they've requested capacity analysis of the schools that we've put forward for accelerated repair.
Okay, and then also on that same page, the scope of the work needed in the building is not beyond just the repair or replacement of roof, windows, boiler?
Yeah.
Who determines that piece?
That's them doing their walkthrough. So if they see any glaring issues at a facility that are beyond just what we're requesting, whether it's roof, window, or boiler, and I don't know whatever it might be, they won't move that project forward because, or say there's a major HVAC issue in the building, independent of what we're requesting, they would not move that project forward because of the additional work that's required to bring that facility up to.
I'm curious, I noted that in particular, caught my attention because of with the closure of West Roxbury Ed Complex, and I don't want to get into a discussion whether or not the school should be closed. It was in very poor condition. But were there MSBA projects at West Roxbury Ed Complex that we did move ahead with, knowing that the school is in such disrepair?
So the city of Boston put in for a roof replacement, I think in 2015, and they wouldn't move it forward because of that bullet, because they felt there was more work needed at that facility.
Has there been any MSBA improvements to the West Roxbury campus?
Not since the new MSBA program, which started in 2004.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any. There may have been some prior to that that were getting reimbursed, but I'm not aware of any. I know that there weren't any from 2004 on.
Great, thank you. And then when we do utilize MSBA money for any of these projects, what limits does that put on the school use going forward?
So if we were to, they do there's a 20-year life of one of these systems. So just say, in Rafael Hernandez, if we replace the boiler there next year and that building changed somehow or a renovation or an addition or something happened to that building that impacted that boiler system, they would look to recoup some of that money that they put forward into that project.
So is it, especially when we look at the boilers, when we look at the roofs, does that limit these schools that are getting the approval, or we expect to get the approval, will that exclude them from Build BPS investments going forward?
I don't believe so. We replaced the roof at the McCormick a couple years back, and we're moving forward. That's one of the projects that's moving forward in Build BPS.
So will we not touch the roof in that case? Or we'll just...
Yeah, hopefully we're not, we're still working on they're just starting the design actually, but the goal is to not impact any of the existing roof of that building, and I think we'll be able to accomplish that.
Okay. And then if a school received MSBA money, like the McCormick, for example, has the roof, let's use that as an example because we're going through the design project and we look forward to having a new school in that location the next few years. Could we close and sell or dispose of a school if it received MSBA money?
If that was to happen, MSBA would look to, so it's a 20-year span. If the building was online for 5 years, they would credit the city or district that 5 years worth of the project and then look to take back, they do some calculation, take back 15 years of that, of what they've reimbursed.
Okay. And then my last question is sort of in the weeds. A lot of our schools, you mentioned no window projects, but some of our windows, and I know from my own classroom, can be dangerous if they are broken. What are the mitigations that the district and facilities can do to help any particular window in the district that's in very poor, if not dangerous shape?
Sure. We've, I think 2016, 2017, we replaced we replaced windows in 7 schools. And as you mentioned, a lot of them were in pretty tough shape, like the
locking mechanism doesn't
lock mechanisms
work.
go, but even they just slam down
Yeah.
and they create a dangerous situation for some, especially for some of the younger kids. We work with BPS to identify any of those windows that are in, that could be dangerous to any of the kids. If it's needs to be addressed immediately, that will be handled under BPS facilities, or if it's something that could take a little longer, public facilities would get on board and look to design a whole new window system for a school.
We make sure schools with bad windows have access to old textbooks because those are the best props.
We've seen a lot of interesting things used to prop windows.
Right, and if it weren't sometimes a scary situation, it would be this funny. Some windows are in really bad shape across the district,
Yeah,
and in dangerous shape.
In not only dangerous shape, but a lot of times, unfortunately, when a window is knocked out or there's an issue with it, it's replaced with the Lexan, so it limits the daylighting into the rooms, and it creates kind of a poor environment for some of the learning of these children.
Some teachers have started to reverse the shade, so if you pull it out and flip it the opposite way, so it reflects or blocks the sun in a different way, sort of like a little bit of a approach tip, but you know, we have to, our windows need to work, especially schools that aren't air conditioned.
Right.
And all of that. But thank you, I appreciate it.
Brian, besides West Roxbury, and I know the Jackson Man was rejected from consideration, many other schools that we've proposed for these repairs that have been rejected over the past 5 years or so?
I'm trying to think, West Roxbury and Jackson Man are the two that come to mind, but I don't
Yeah.
believe so. I'll have to look into that,
Yeah,
but
just curious. Okay,
for the most part, we've been pretty successful in our submissions.
right, great.
I'll take a look into that.
Thank you, Brian. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, gentlemen. Just very, very briefly, this has been a pretty thorough overview. How confident are you, looking at both the 2018 accelerated repair submissions and 2019, how confident are you that the timeline will be able to make that? I'm talking about the sort of bid projects for at least the 2018 ones later this year or early next year, and then construction in the year ahead.
I'm very confident in the 2018 that they'll go into construction in 2020. Hopefully, if we have a consultant team assigned to the city in early fall of 2019, we'll be able to get the design in place for the roofs, especially because they take a little less time to design. So if any of the projects from 2018 could go into construction next summer, it would be the roof projects.
Good.
And if not, they'd just be bumped out a year to 2021.
And are those, I assume the answer is yes. The roof projects can be done over the course of a summer so as not to minimize, and is that the true with the windows as well and the boiler?
Windows and boilers take a little more time. The windows are the most impactful to a school.
Yeah.
In that it may go into the start of the school year. When we're working on a window project, we try to identify all the classroom spaces so that the work left when the school year starts aren't in the actual classrooms, maybe administrative offices or storage spaces.
Okay.
In the boilers, we try to get into the building prior to the school year ending, after the heating season's over, so we can start work in hopes of getting that online before the start of September.
Okay, great. All right, well, listen, I appreciate your great work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the Chair of the Education Committee as well for your leadership on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. All set?
I'm all set.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Brian, Zach. The hearing regarding Dockets 1048, 1050, and postponing 1049 is hereby adjourned.